Hey guys, Nick here. So today I will be showing you all around this Honda Pioneer 500, as well as doing some riding, giving you my thoughts on it. We'll talk about the specs, of course, on this. I'll show you around briefly and we'll do some riding. I'll give you my thoughts, kind of tell you what the experience is like, because I know there's a lot of question and debate over the dual clutch in the 500, the 500 powertrain that's found in these. So we're really going to talk about that and go into depth on the whole drivetrain on these. So let's get started. So this one right here is the 2022, which is the most current model, even though it is 2023. Honda usually doesn't produce the side-by-side model for that model year until like March or April. We don't hear, and then, you know, right around May is when we start seeing dealer deliveries of these for that model year. So we still got a little ways to go until we see the 2023s on the 500. I'm hoping they'll do something different with the 500, but we'll get into that shortly. The 500 came out first, and then they came out with the 520, so we'll go into the differences of those two as well. This has a base MSRP of $85.99, I believe. On top of that, of course, you have a destination and freight, and if you go through a good Honda dealer, you'll be able to get it out the door for that price, or maybe even a little bit of a discount on the destination and freight. That really does depend though, as these are very sparse and hard to find. I work with a really good dealer over here in Albany, New York, JAF Motors, so their info's down below if you're looking into getting one of these. They always take care of me in getting these products to show you guys. So as always, their info's down below. Be sure to check them out. So talking about the powertrain, it is a 475cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder fuel-injected engine from Honda, which was taken out of the Foreman 500 that many of you know and love for many years. And then in 2020, they came out with the 520 drivetrain and updated that. But this is the original 500 motor from, you know, 2019, 2018, and those model years of the Foreman. So they took that power plant, put it in a side-by-side. They changed up the transmission though. They put it to a 5-speed dual clutch transmission. So we'll get into all the benefits of that and how it really rides, of course, once I start it up and we start driving it. The really nice thing about having a dual clutch transmission in one of these is towing and just overall driving, because when you're towing, you can leave it in that first gear. It's a real low grunt gear. There's no trying to stick it in a low range and having a belt that, you know, can only do so much with a low range. So there's no slipping, you know, it's all transmission, all internal clutches and so forth, as you do in your car. Honda takes a lot of this out of their automotive division, of course, so a lot of their cross-referencing and ideas in their side-by-sides come from their cars. So that's why we have the dual clutch and a real transmission, and we don't see any CVTs in their Pioneer or ATV models, which is pretty interesting and different to see. Now on top of that, of course, just driving it, it's a totally different experience than a CVT. When you're driving, it downshifts just like a car, so your RPMs stay nice and low. The motor doesn't hum up real high, and you know, doing 20 miles an hour, it's not all whirled up like you do in a CVT. So it's gonna be a lot quieter. You can actually talk to your passenger a little bit better, you know, and it adds a lot more sport and kind of play to it as well with that dual clutch transmission. You can bang through gears. You have the paddle shifters on this, which is a really nice thing they all come with. So there's a lot of flexibility. You can work with it. You can have some play. The wheelbase is extremely thin, and you know, it's pretty small and short. So it's really nice because anywhere's your ATV will fit, this will basically fit as well. So this will easily fit in the back of your truck bed. You know, any normal 5x8 trailer will fit this. So it's very versatile with its wheelbase. So that's a really nice thing as well. Honda makes a bunch of accessories. You can do roof, windshields, rear window. You can even put a tub on the back, so you kind of have like a more of a bed on it. If you really want a dump body, then you can go to the 520, which gives you the 520 drivetrain, which is a little bit nicer. It's a little more refined, as it's the updated version of the 500, but they threw it in with the dump body on the 520 model. So they're essentially the same, but the 520 is the 520 drivetrain, still same 5-speed dual clutch transmission. but you also have a dump bed on it. So if you're looking for the dump bed, look into that. I have a video on one of those. I'll have an eye pop up. You can check that out if that's more what you're looking for. But if you're looking to save a little money, you just want to get out, do some riding, you know, maybe put a tub on the back so you can or carry some logs around better and so forth, and do some light work, tow some trailers, and this is a really nice fit for that. Now, we also know Hondas are known for, they're very easy to be serviced on and worked on. So seat comes right up. Under there is access to the top of your motor, of course. There's nothing you need to unbolt, nothing you need to, you know, mess around with to really get to it. So that's a really nice thing, of course, when you're doing your oil change. Under the front hood, there's really nothing there. Top of your radiator. So if you need to top off your coolant, that's really it on that end. But let's move into the dashboard and everything. Okay, so starting up the Pioneer, guys. We got our 2-wheel 4-wheel drive selector, of course, your automatic and your manual modes. So we're going to kind of experiment with that, where we kind of let it shift. And then I'm going to take over. Down here we have our parking brake. We have a light here. We have also a reverse light, seatbelt light. This will kind of hit its own limiter right around like 12-13 mile an hour. So basically always got to ride it with the seatbelt clicked in. You know, you're supposed to wear a seatbelt. Of course, wear a helmet too if you're going riding. Go ahead and start it up. These have a tendency to want to crank a lot. Right there, fired right up, of course. But it's normal for them to want to crank. It's usually them building oil pressure with them wanting to fire up. So, but it's real easy to drive. Hit the paddle once, puts us in drive. Paddle on the left side here, paddle down, puts us back into neutral. Down here on the ground, start to see, there's a reverse pull lever. So you pull that and then paddle back. That gives you your reverse. But enough that being said, put it in gear, start driving. Now in terms of turning, it actually turns pretty good. I got it turned all the way to the right. You know, it really does turn almost as tight as an ATV would. Of course, we'll go to the left. So in terms of turning, it's actually really nice. And, you know, if I want to do this, I can put it in manual mode. But right there, so we'll get on it. We'll just kind of get up to cruise. It's in third gear right now. There's fourth. There's fifth. You can kind of hear it shift too. You can hear when it shifts. You definitely feel it. The first second is the most rough. If I put in manual mode, see we're in third. That paddle put in fourth, put it in fifth, parking it down, get the revs down, or up, I mean. Woo! Got a little sideways there. I just hit mud. So this really does like to go. I find the more throttle you give it, the smoother and the happier it shifts. If you just kind of go slow with it, sometimes it's first or second, it doesn't like to shift. So right there, see, it shifted real nice, but sometimes it doesn't like to. Oh yeah, we hit a mud patch there. But yeah, the automatic's really nice though, because you can just cruise around and go, and you know, it just goes for you. And if you want to rip it still, you know, you still can. So, you know, it's really fun to drive with that dual clutch transmission because it just goes and it shifts. And the shifting with the dual clutch is honestly, I think, the best, most fun part about it. And not just in automatic mode. If I do manual mode, you know, I can tell it exactly where I want it to be, the rev loop. That fifth gear just lugs, and it's so nice. And then of course you downshift it. I'll give us a little bit of a pull. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a pull here from first gear. We're going to start out slow. That was a little over 35. Now, I didn't totally punch it and rev it out because it is new, so I didn't fully rev it out, so it still had more to it, but that kind of gives you an idea. And the paddle shifters is just where the money's at, because look. And it slows down so fast when you downshift it. It just revs right up. You know, it really is just driving like a sports car with that dual clutch. Now the nice thing too with that dual clutch is you have the ability to override it at any time when it's in automatic mode. So watch. So you can hear it shifted, but if I hit the shifter, I can override it, which is just a really nice feature. Ah, there's sticks in here. Now, as you can see, it stays really well planted in the sense that I'm doing some pretty decent sized, you know, tighter turns here with some momentum, and it's all independent suspension, of course, and it's not very tipsy at all. It's very well planted. You know, the only thing it'll do is kick out the back end, which I think is a good thing because that just kind of prevents it from catching and flipping over. But it's just really nice the way it drives, of course. You still have that two-wheel, four-wheel, so if I want to put four-wheel drive, I just do that. Now I'm in four-wheel. So I want to go over this little pile of snow. Drive right on over. Reverse is real easy. So let's go into some fresh snow here, see what it does. Felt pretty good. Take it out four-wheel just like that. There it goes, pops right out. We're good to go. I got a little bit of a jump here. So, in terms of ground clearance, it actually is pretty good. It clears it pretty well. You see, it's pretty quiet though. I mean, you know, it's obviously there, the motor and everything, but I think you'd still hear me pretty decent, and I have a helmet on. And if I punch it, you know, I can kick out that back end anytime I want. Now that really isn't much either. That's probably, you know, in terms of the rev range, it's probably just right in the middle there, and it's sliding around real nice. It really does slide around in the ways you want something you want to play around on. It just has this playability to it you don't expect, and I think that's something that's really underrated and not enough said about, is the playability in these Pioneer models, because they really are focused more towards work and utility and moving people around, but they really do have kind of a sport factor in the way you can whip them around and kind of trail ride them. Now of course this doesn't have Fox shocks where you can, you know, you can go hit a big jump on it, big double or something, launch it, you know, 5-10 feet in the air. It's not built for that, of course, and you do feel that in the suspension. But if you want to tow trailers, you want to move a lot of weight, you got a boat you want to pull, you got a truck that won't start for you, and you got to haul it across your property to get it to the other side, this will pull it, no problem. And that dual clutch is really what pulls all that off, and it's really a special factor about it. Now of course there's that controversy over the shifting. That first and second's real rough. The harder you drive these, the better they run. So if you're just slowly getting on the accelerator, you know, sometimes it's going to stumble, not want to shift, other times it's going to shift great. And you know, this one of course isn't fully broken in, so I think that smooths it out a bit as you put more mileage on these. The clutches, you know, they all wear in. Now if you are concerned a little bit over that dual clutch being maybe a little harsh on the shifting or something, they make the 520, which is redefined. I drove one of those and it felt just right out of the box a lot smoother than this. Now I really do need to ride one more like I did with this today to get a better feel on that, but I believe the 520 is a little bit smoother. Of course you're paying a little more. I think you're paying about $1,000 more into the 520, and you're getting the dump bed, which is a really nice feature. So if you want a dump bed and just shifting maybe has you concerned and you want something a little smoother, then that really is the better option, is the 520. But if you want to ride around, do some hauling, move some firewood around, you know, you can always put a utility box on these Honda makes. You know, I think that's really a great way to go, of course. And if you're looking for more work than that, they make the 700, which has, you know, a bigger dump body, more power, and so forth. But if you want to just get around, have some fun, this is great. I know some people too, they want the power steering, and they wish they had power steering. I don't think you need it really. I think Honda, it would be cool if they made a deluxe version like they do with the 700s and 1000, where you got maybe some nicer wheels, some better paint, and, you know, power steering. You know, something like that would be nice. Maybe a tilt steering wheel in here. Everything's very stationary, but you know, everything feels good. I don't feel cramped in here. I have plenty of room. The steering wheel's really like perfect where I'd want it. The paddle shifters feel really nice, and the shifting's instant. I just can't say enough about that transmission. The reverse is real simple. Told you guys all about that. But that's really all my thoughts on the Pioneer 500 and some riding. I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. If you'd like to see more riding videos like this in the future, come spring when the weather gets nice, you know, definitely let me know in the comments below. Give me some feedback. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I know you guys have been enjoying the videos recently, so glad to see it. I appreciate the support, guys. You guys all have a great night. Bye.